Hey guys, welcome to episode 15 of the Whatever Podcast, the show where we talk about whatever.
Today we have a very special guest.
Yes, our good friend Leen is with us in the building in the podcast studio at Davidson College. This is like a full circle moment for us. We haven't been here in like 3 years, like filming anything, so it's fun to bring it back here and do it with you. And I've seen you like every other day, so it's just this is like perfect that we're doing this right now. Thanks for being with us. Leen, why don't you tell people where you're from, your major, and how you ended up being like a digital media instructor here at Davidson.
Hi, thank you for having me on here. My name's Leen. I'm from Jordan, and I'm a digital and screen media and hopefully sociology double major. I
double major at Davidson is not easy.
That's
so
why I
yes,
plugged in the hopefully. Like,
yeah.
if we can do it. And this summer I worked as a media consultant in the library. Just to familiarize myself with new skills for making content and yeah, I guess that's the main part of it, and making resources at Davidson more accessible.
Right. And you are a sophomore now?
I'm a junior.
Junior, okay.
I started with the class of 23, so I could have graduated this year.
Okay, yeah. Okay, gotcha. Well, it's a good place to stay and build your skills and whatnot. Well, this is nice for us. This is the first podcast episode we've done since coming back from Italy. We've been meaning to do this for a long time, and to do it here is really interesting too, because if you're watching this episode, I've already left Davidson College. I just put in my resignation a little while ago, so I'm leaving on Tuesday and whatnot, so I'm trying to take advantage of everything before they kick us out. So it's nice to have this like full circle moment here, and then talking with someone of like the next generation who's like, this whole room is like a lot different, and it's clear that you have a passion for this. So I guess my first question would be, what kind of got you into digital media? Is this something you've always wanted to do, or this is like a recent like passion that's kind of crept up?
First of all, I can't believe you're leaving.
Yeah.
Break the news in the podcast.
Yeah. I love Davidson. It's not like I hate Davidson or anything like that. I had an opportunity that came up to do Trilla G full time and get some actual funding and whatnot. I've been here for about a year working as an employee, and I love Davidson, but at the end of the day, like, I do music, I do art, I want to be able to do that full time every day. So as soon as I got that opportunity, I just jumped on it, and I'll be in New York for a little while, and then I'm moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I'll just be working on Trilla G full time, but I'll be able to travel and move around a lot, so I can visit every now and again.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely new chapters.
Appreciate it.
Yes. And back to the question.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I've
No, my bad.
Good interview skills.
That's
it.
So you asked me when did I get into this? I think early on, like middle school, entering high school, I knew I liked this stuff, and I shadowed at an animation company back home.
Nice.
And I guess then I realized that the job was mostly sitting down behind a screen, and I was like, okay, we're not gonna do this. Let's try another career. And then I just pushed all this stuff to the side, and then eventually I started considering things like music or theater, but I was like, I'm very interested in service, so I'll focus on nonprofit type jobs. And as I've been gaining more experience working with nonprofits and volunteering with them, I just realized that most of the things that I would like to do for them, like actually enjoy doing them, I didn't have the skills to do, and they'd either have someone else do it or not have anyone who could do it. And part of that was making videos, more illustrative graphic design projects, and so I'm running out of breath here. And so I just decided, you could do media, and it could be beneficial, I guess I used to think of it as a very for-profit isn't the word, but
Mm-hmm.
very commercial realm. And I started realizing, no, it could be creative and at the same time allow you to do good, whether it's good for yourself and you're expressing yourself and it's an outlet for you, or it's a service type project, whether it's educational or just general awareness campaigns.
So if I'm and that's a dope story trajectory. If I'm just taking in what you said correctly, you had a passion for being able to connect, serve in community. You wanted to get into a space or a field, but didn't have those skill sets, and so you found your way into digital media by seeing there was a gap, but I can fill this gap with my own human capital, my own what's the word? Inquisitive nature. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. So is that
your own
how
unique
you
perspective? And
found your way into digital media? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when it comes to service, did you see that reflected growing up in the media that you were taking in? I know you said you felt like you had a perspective that it was only a commercial, like a capitalistic thing. Were there other aspects or like anomalies that you saw where service was exhibited in like organizations that you respected or just were aware of?
Yeah, I've definitely seen some. Obviously, most of my exposure was marketing, and there's some documentaries or films that I saw in the recent years, actually. So it wasn't. I'm thinking of the word historical, but that's not really it. But yeah, I guess just because I'm from a very small country where the filmmaking and music industry is just starting out in the recent decade, and more these past few years, that might sort of explain where I was and how I viewed and understood just any digital creative outlet or job. So.
Okay.
And when you were talking about marketing, like what type of marketing were you exposed to? Was it social media or filmmaking, photography, or just animation, stuff like that?
I mean, when I thought of careers in anything media related, I would think about like advertisements.
Okay.
But I was exposed to just like general popular culture, movies and pictures, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Jordan or just like the West or?
Yeah, mostly I'd say American media.
Got you.
I'm trying to think, maybe just a couple of local and like regional Arab films. But yeah, it was mostly just, and not that much. I wouldn't say I know a lot about American popular culture and movies, but a good amount. Yeah.
That's what's up. So I'm curious, what was your first digital media project that you took on, and what was your reflection after you completed it?
I don't know if that project was ever completed. It was a filmmaking class I took about a year ago, and me and one of my classmates made a short film, which I guess is still in its rough cut form, about it's like more of aesthetic or cute piece, following the life of a soup can throughout the years. And so we filmed some good shots, and then we didn't really know what audio to pair with it, and so we just kind of got stuck, but we put it all together.
Yeah.
And so when I was doing that, I realized you know how I talked about just being behind the screen all day? I was like, no, you can do hands-on stuff and be on the road and talk to people. And I was like, this is so cool. And it was after that experience where I was like, hey, I could take some time off Davidson, catch up on credits, apply for the interdisciplinary major, because they have rules about that. You can only apply at certain points of your Davidson career.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Very last point.
Oh my God, yeah.
So yeah, it was after doing that, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, and you get to move around and just like enjoy some good moments. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
And luckily there's a minor, like film and media studies minor, that you can use to kind of boost up your major and then just kind of make it more creative after that. I was a film and media studies major here, and then I was able to take that and go abroad and go to film school and stuff like that. And you can flip it into marketing when you need to just get a job anywhere and pay the bills. But yeah, that soup can story reminds me of a commercial I saw when I was a kid with like, you know, that can that's rolling down the street from it falls off the shelf and then it follows the kid home. Back, I think it's like ravioli or something like
Chef
that.
Boyardee.
Chef Boyardee. Yeah, it's like, it's not necessarily the life of the can, but it's just like the kid takes it off the shelf. He's like, Mom, can I get this? And she's like, we can't afford it. And he puts it back, and then the can is just like,
I've seen that.
I'm coming for you. So it's just like, that was a good one. I remember my first project that I ever did, because I started here in 2016. Vic and I took a class with this visiting professor from New York. He was a director, and he said, I need you to make a 1-minute film about like on a bench. You can't leave the bench. It has to be in that area. And like there was a bench right outside of Chambers, and I think I had Vic in it with another friend, and I had this like wacky idea, and I made them like fight. I was trying to get like this cool like fight scene that didn't work out.
I remember that.
Actually, no, that was the second one. Sorry.
That was the second.
It was it someone else, and it was like this weird interaction where I think it was like a guy and a girl on the bench, and she kind of dropped the papers, and then they had like a moment where like they touched hands, and then he thought it was something and it wasn't, so she just hit him, and it was like so weird. And I've made some weird films back in the day, but it was fun. It was like I had to figure all this out. I had to edit it myself and film it. And I was like, okay, this is weird. This is a crazy start, but now I'm like hooked on it. So I was like stuck.
That's smooth.
You remember your first project?
My
Victor?
first project was actually in 8th grade. So
Okay.
I was walking back from my middle school, and I saw one of my homies, Axel, just coming back, and we had gotten out of touch for a few years. But I saw him, he was skateboarding, and then from that I was like, yo, let me just tag along, come skateboard with y'all.
Yeah.
And I had a Samsung Digimax camera as a point and shoot, you know what I'm saying? It's probably like 5 megapixels max on the photos or video, whatever it was. But yeah, I would just film skateboarding videos. I didn't have any sense of composition or just like my own artistic style. I was just like, let me just capture the event. And just, I got a whole bunch of different clips, and some of them were shaky, and some of them were underexposed, but just from being able to sit down, and I remember I was using Windows Movie Maker and just put all the clips in there and see all the cheesy transitions and just saying, wow, it's not like the work that I'm seeing from folks that I really respect in the field, but it's a first step of me being able to create a work.
It's yours.
And I had a starting point. I had a landing pad, you know what I'm saying? So this was a foundation, and everything else was just built on top of that. And so it was just filming more skateboarding clips, and got interested in fisheye lenses. I couldn't afford a fisheye lens, so I said, let me just buy a peephole from Home Depot and just build an attachment into the camera, and getting into that type of aspect. And I don't know, but that first film allowed me to see the window of opportunity and being able to make this media my own and be able to tell a story. So yeah.
So I'm curious, you know, throughout my years as a filmmaker and just like an artist, I've realized what I can do and what like I'm not so great at, and like what I really want to focus on. I learned that lesson painfully when I was in film school, because they had us take all these classes like animation and acting and cinematography and everything, and I had to figure out what I liked and what I didn't like. I realized I'm not a good writer when it comes to like writing screenplays and whatnot, and I really love being behind the camera. So I'm more of a cinematographer who can direct sometimes, and if I need to, I can act a little bit. Do you know like what you want to focus on in this field? Are you more of like a filmmaker? Are you more of a director? Or do you want to act in these films, or animation, editing? Any idea?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That's the fun part.
There you go, yeah.
Okay. That's the very, very fun part. And just, I'm pretty sure you already know this, but do as much as you can. If there's a position to be a lighting tech, to help with miking.
And being like a PA is a good way to start.
Yeah,
Production assistant, you're just around, and then you just kind of watch everyone, see what you like, what you don't like. Oh, I don't want to do that, or that looks cool, that type of thing.
And I had a conversation with another like entrepreneur, and they said people aren't always going to tell you this. They'll say lean into discomfort, but they'll like always be uncomfortable because it's through that constant state of discomfort that you are building like an ongoing resilience and fortitude and wherever you are. And if you know all aspects of the film industry or whatever type of industry you're in, you're not only writing from your perspective, but you're writing from the perspective of the subject or somebody that's adjacent to the subject, and you can create a more holistic viewpoint. It's not going to be a perfect viewpoint, but you can better refine what you do in your skills to say, all right, I know I'm holding the key light right now. I know the camera's going to move that way. I know the audio is going to be there, so maybe the lighting and audio don't have any intersection. But you can kind of predict where to go or where to be or how to move because you had experience in another field. So just try everything and do as much as you can, and just do it.
Yeah. And if you start from the bottom, like PA, it's going to make you appreciate the whole process when you become like the director or like the producer or whatnot, because it's like you used to be the person bringing in coffee and like hauling all the heavy bags and whatnot, and now you got to see every aspect of it, and it's like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And even though I can't do that, I respect, people who can, and I know what goes into it, so it just makes you more appreciative of the whole process. So my recommendation.
Do you just reach out to a production team and be like, can I work for you guys or assist you?
Well, I'll tell you, like, the most valuable thing you have right now, if you don't have experience, is just like your time. So if you're like, hey, I'm just really interested in this stuff, I have a little bit of experience working on my own projects, I'd love to be a part of it, can I be a PA? They'd probably be like, and you do it for free? They'll be like, yeah, come on. Like, if you say you're going to do something for free, most people will just let you in. So yeah, you can just hit them up and figure it out. The Hurt Hub might have some opportunities there. There's people always like filming who might need some like, help with some stuff, and talking to people in the film department, film and media studies, they'll help point you in the right direction. So yeah, you just kind of reach out and ask, and they'll just do it for you. And yeah, or maybe even LinkedIn, someone might have something in the area. You never really know, but there's a lot of resources there you can take advantage of.
Yeah, and whether you're in the collegiate space or outside of it and don't have like, I guess the appropriate networks to try to facilitate that type of interaction happen. I remember I would just find events to go to or find events that I was interested in, and I said, I don't know nothing about this place, I don't know none of these people, but I'm taking my camera and I'm going to do what I do. And through that, sometimes people see you, they say, you see you got a camera, and they'll come up and they'll ask you and they'll inquire. Other times you have to be more assertive in terms of knowing that you bring an asset to the table. And sometimes I would just go to the people who are running the booth or running the event, and I say, hey, I took these photos, who can I send them to? Or hey, I like to take video, where would you like me to be? Or if are there any other events coming up? And just following up and kind of putting yourself in those positions you already have what they need, and just saying, I'm here, what's next? And then they'll be like, okay, that's the person that I can assign to this task. And by being someone that they can identify to saying, okay, they're good at this, then you're kind of already in that circle in a sense. And yeah, just put yourself in places, go there and just do what you do best. There is a platform called Staff Me Up that has an ongoing list of any type of filmic needs. So there are productions happening all over. You put your city or location in, you make an account, and based on your skills that you have, that you list on your account, and even if you can provide a reel or anything, then people are able to see you, see what you do, and reach out to you and say, hey, we would like to have you a part of this team. I'd say it's a decent success rate. Like, there are a lot of profiles on there, but if people are really looking for something or somebody, then they'll do what they need to do to find it, and you might get matched up with somebody or a project. So yeah, those are just some nuggets.
You do it the first time for free, and the next time you get paid a fee. So you just kind of keep going until someone is like, oh, you're really good, we want to keep you consistently, and then they just pay you, and then the experience just keeps going up. But if you have free time and you're available, especially now that you're just like in school, you can just go anywhere, and you don't really need the money right now. So it's just like you'll have more opportunities, and you'll find a lot of like places to get new experiences and whatnot. Yeah. So
good question though. You podcasting and
going back to service, do you see yourself using digital media, this art form, to change things here in America and Jordan, or like globally? Do you have like a place you want to be, or you just want to be like everywhere helping people wherever you can with this art?
Yeah, I feel like it's a mix of just helping out wherever it may be needed in the project or the mission moves me in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I would be interested in creating things that sort of bend or change, or at least aspire to change culture back home.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always like a global extent of like cultural patterns everywhere too, so
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be just limited to that. But yeah, I have a few ideas, but to get there, slowly getting an idea what I'd like to do and
Mm-hmm.
finding my artistic voice.
Yeah.
And so I give you a vague answer, but that's
No,
That's
a cool
that's
answer.
where you are right now. It's fine.
So
yeah.
one thing, appreciate, even if it's a slow process, appreciate the slow process and don't underestimate the strides that you still make. I think I made it up. I ain't never heard nobody else say it, but my favorite saying is a baby step is still a step. You know, you put a baby down, it's gonna crawl, but if you leave it alone it's gonna crawl away. You know what I'm saying? So just a baby step is still a step, even if you gotta take a small step here and there, as long as you're moving, it's still happening.
As long as you're moving forward, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what are some of those cultural. You said it a specific way. Cultural artifacts, cultural.
I don't know what I'd said.
Cultural like patterns
Patterns.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what are some, or what's a cultural pattern that you appreciate about back home in Jordan, and what's a cultural pattern that you would like to see shift back home in Jordan?
I'd say, in terms of things I appreciate, sometimes my mind blanks on English words, is hospitality.
Hospitality.
Yeah, like
okay.
hospitality, openness, there's humor, all these things that I love. And in terms of things that could be better, like I guess, you know, when I said like these things are global, to anything that sort of hits on gender or you know, issues that happen within families, like behind closed doors, legal services and protections, and just following along different social movements and their progress, and yeah.
Sounds like you might be like really good as a documentarian, just kind of getting all this stuff, raising awareness across the globe, but also just at home. Like, you know, this is what's going on. It's happening behind closed doors, but it's like going on, and other people might relate, and then this might be able to change things and start like a movement just by documenting
it's scary to think about. I mean, obviously the purpose of a piece is to rock the boat a little bit, but it's scary to think about the unintended consequences that might occur, or the way that revolution usually unfolds. And so I always have that fear of like, okay, yeah, would love to see things be different, and I feel like I'd really enjoy the process of making a project or a documentary or video, whatever it is that relates to it. But there's always this anxiety about what if, or not what if. I guess if it is successful in some capacity, what potential violence might unfold, and do I want to be connected to that, even though there might be down in the line you know, much more hope or positivity in regards to this issue. Do I still want to have the weight of those few difficult moments or grievances laying on my shoulders, and being accountable for that?
That awareness is real.
Yeah, you kind of have to like weigh like how bad is the situation versus like you kind of raising awareness and kind of making it slightly worse temporarily for it to like then change and become something better, it's like
you don't know if it could get worse temporarily, and it could stay there.
Yeah.
It could get worse for forever.
Yeah.
And just stay there.
Never.
Until someone else does more and more, and you don't know where it goes. So that's just some stuff I think about sometimes.
That's interesting.
That's fair.
I recently had a conversation with my grandmother, and she was like, "How things going?" I said, "They're always getting better." She said, "It could get worse," and I was like,
"Thanks,
Granny." But then I came back and I'm like, you know what? Each day that I have is things are indeed getting better, even if I don't see it unfolding. I believe in purpose-filled passions and passion-filled purpose. They go hand in hand for me. So when it comes to knowing that there's something that you're driven to do in terms of utilizing space to amplify voices and perspectives, to reach out and do your part when it comes to just knowing that you have power in your words, you have power in the digital media that we can create, and we have power in how that's disseminated and distributed. I also know that, yes, there are so many unforeseen and unpredictable consequences in terms of what we can create as artists. When we create that, we put it out there and say, all right, it may spark what we want, it may spark a totally opposite or unpredictable response. I still believe we got to put that puzzle piece down and trust that somebody else is going to come along and put a puzzle piece together to connect it. Even if it doesn't look like the outcome right away is going to be favorable, we still got to do our part to add to the foundation that we want to build. That's my 2 cents.
I'd say you can't let the fear of what may happen like cripple you from making like a decision that feels like right in that moment, where it's like, I think energy and feelings are like important. You can feel in your gut when it's like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, and then you kind of back off of it, or it's like, nah, it feels good right now and I think I need to go after this, and then what happens after, then you kind of pivot and see if like maybe I need to back off because now I think I might have started something and I don't know if I want to finish it. Yeah, so
no commands.
And then it's like, but it's like if I don't do anything and then it gets worse, and it's like I could have said something that might have changed anything. So fear is a very interesting thing that I try not to let cripple.
That logic.
Yeah.
So weighing out. So it's bad, and it's whatever social problem you choose anywhere.
Yeah.
It would still continue happening. Well, there's always a movement already in place, and so many other people who are also working towards improving the situation. But it will likely happen whether I do something or not.
Right.
And so, yeah, I've never thought about thinking about that and weighing that out of the possible unintended consequences.
Because like the thing that you do may end up sparking something like, wow, I didn't know it was like that, and now it's inspiring me to, fight against that or push back against it, like, and then that could lead to a bunch of other like positive domino pieces falling, as opposed to just letting it stay bad, and then it's just like, yeah, if I do this, it'll make it worse, so I'm just gonna let them continue to. It's like an impossible thing that we're talking about here. So then I just kind of go off of, how do I feel about like what I'm doing? Like just kind of sit down with that decision. It's like, does this feel okay? Pray about it, whatever. You can feel in your gut when something is good or not. And when it feels bad, then I back off. When it feels good, I'm like, I'm gonna roll the dice. And then whatever happens, then I make another decision. And then it's like, okay, this happened now. And it's like, okay, maybe now I need to be more calmer.
Maybe I wouldn't even know. Like how do you know how your work is received, or maybe. So one of the things I think about is I don't know if the extent to which this happens in other countries in the global south, but sort of a pushback against whatever ideals are being pushed by, and usually in the media, as Western, that are like gonna dominate or take over or erase their culture, or whatever they come to believe now as being their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I fear might result is just an even stronger pushback. So it's almost as if it's perceived as like, oh, we're fighting fire with fire. So like if you're arguing for, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something neutral, like marshmallow. Like if you're arguing for marshmallow rights or whatever it is, we'll just like, we're not selling them anymore, you know, or we don't, I don't know.
I'm with you.
Analogy.
Yeah.
So I think I want to add, I don't think I want to add, I'm going to add that for me, when it comes to creating, and we can always have intentions, and we can hope, pray, and trust our intentions are in the best place. Again, we don't know how what we intend to be good could be received as ill or bad for somebody else. At the same time, when you lean into something and you
no pun intended. You did that twice.
But when you work towards something and you have compassion and empathy, and you're not just, you may be working on it yourself, but you're working on it with a group of people who can guide you and just make sure that it's a holistic viewpoint as best as it can be. It's not going to be perfect. And again, I want to bring this back to like my music and my creation process. Like when I'm creating, I do my best to keep that empathy and that compassion and that understanding and just openness to like the multiplicities of human experience, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna put this out there. I'm gonna drop nuggets from my life that I've grown from, and it might piss people off. It might not do anything. 2 people might listen to it, but even if like I do it because I need to, and I have to get that out. As that again, it goes back to the purpose-filled passion and the passion-filled purpose. Like I know that's what I need to do to be me, to be myself, and to give my contribution to the world. And even if only just one person finds that meaningful, then that's a bonus to it. But I left a perspective in this world that is still valid and is still important. Because even if somebody comes back and pipes up and brings some fire, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's still conversation, that's still a dialogue, and that's for others to be able to interpret and break down, and then to say, okay, what is this person bringing to the conversation of this occurrence in the world, and what does that person bring to the conversation? And that's how we get just like more forums and people being able to study the text and all the art that we have today, because somebody was like, this might piss some people off, but we're gonna put it out there in the world anyway. But it allowed for us to be able to say, okay, now we have all these ideologies that we can break down and take in for ourselves and interpret them for ourselves. I wasn't trying to answer a specific question, but that was to
try to get that off your chest. Yeah,
and assuage that fear of not knowing what kind of ripple in the pond the rock you throw is going to have. It's about you making sure you throw that rock and just trust that where it lands in the pond, it will create an ecosystem for a lot of biodiversity. I don't know where that metaphor went, but I had to follow through.
I'll make one last point before we change the topic. I think when it comes to your personal, okay, perfect. I think when it comes to your personal experiences, whatever it is that you went through, then I think you can take more liberties with that and just kind of put that out and say like, however you feel about it is however you feel about it. But that's like what happened to me, so it's valid. When you're talking about like these social movements and whatnot, then I think the best way to make it easier to make that decision, like, do I put this out, do I not put it out, is kind of always rooting it within like the people that you're trying to like help or reach, and just like, do you want me to put this out? Do you want me to edit some things? Do you want me to cut this down? Like, how much of this do you really want out? Do you even want this to be talked about? And then when it's kind of like rooted in like those communities and they kind of like give you the okay, then it's like, this is what they wanted, and then it's like the less pressure.
Who are they? Like, are the people in protests, or the people who are vocal on social media all who are affected, or are they even representative of who is affected by whatever cause they're standing for? when you talk about the not thinking about what fire might emerge and how that's part of a dialogue and conversation, I appreciate that sentiment. I think it's good to think about just in the context of our discussion on social change as just like a broader dialogue and just someone putting ideas forwards, and if people respond, then that's also part of a larger conversation. I think the issue for me is when I think about how this conversation, I mean, while on my end it might just be an image or a video clip or a song, their response will likely not be simply dialogue. It will, you know, I think more often than not, I keep thinking back to violence. Violence will occur and does occur, and of course I can't be certain of anything, right? But just that's my inkling, and so but yeah, I'll stop looping because I feel like we'll go back to what's happening either way. So
it's such a tough thing when it comes to like that. This is good.
This is good.
It's a good start. This is definitely something to meditate on when we run. When you listen back to this, just kind of think on it. Like a good episode.
This is the dope part of whatever podcast.
Yeah.
Just talk about whatever.
There's none of this is scripted. We don't know what we're gonna talk about. I had no idea.
Maybe I preemptively said the name of the podcast is The Next Generation, but I'm gonna bring it back. So, seeing that we were here, graduated in 2019, the podcast room wasn't even here, this equipment, this was somebody's office, and we said, y'all need to get out, we need a podcast. That didn't happen. But they saw a need because our voices were loud. We were rambunctious. We were rowdy. We shot music videos all over campus. We were performing. We were using every single nook and cranny we could to record and just make what we needed to make to be authentically us, unapologetically. And they heard that need. So in terms of what this next generation of digital media creators looks like, digital media creation looks like here at Davidson, I know there was a gap between those who graduated right before COVID and during the COVID season, like when it was like at its peak, you know what I'm saying? There could be a gap in, okay, what does our future in this space, in this discipline look like? So I'm curious, what would you like to see come to fruition before you make your way out of Davidson as a digital media professional? And what would you like to set as a precedent for those who are coming after you? I mean, I'm just speaking for myself, but I trust that Lawrence and I are on the same page, knowing that our footprints made a difference here as we big stepped our way through these mean streets of North Kakalaki. But yeah, I'm just curious, in a sense, what legacy would you like to leave, and what do you want to see grow here while you are still here?
I mean, you guys left a lot. Like, I had no idea.
We did a few things.
I saw Victor Allen the other day. He comes in here. He's like, this you start telling me about this room and then that room and then all this stuff, and like,
so many changes. Jeez, we used to have like our own like cubicles and little like stations where we could just work and edit, and it was like very private, and then they kind of broke that down and moved everything in that room and then brought it back, and then they made this room like the skeleton of it. It was totally different, and we've kind of seen a lot of changes since we were students here.
As for your question, I'm a very, very new major, so I'm a student in the major, I guess. So I'm not really sure how I can contribute to the answer, because I feel like I haven't yet experienced much of the facilities or the classes and resources, so I feel like there's others that would be better equipped to answer that. But you guys have me on here today.
And I say that in, one second.
No, go ahead.
I say that because you know, I'm not gonna say that's a blanket statement.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have something that you bring to the table, even if you are a new digital media student. You may just not know exactly what that is yet. So as you recognize there's a shortcoming in your experience and all the different things here, my challenge to you is to make the most of all the things here, use them until you're like, okay, what's next? And then figure out what should be next. So since you don't have an answer for us yet, then
next episode.
Now you're looking for an answer when you double back.
Challenge accepted.
All right.
All right. We said it. That's on the.
There we go.
We got it. All right.
Two angles. All right. So. So maybe to wrap things up, I'm curious how you feel like the semester's about to start. You're gonna be a junior officially. How's it feel going into junior year? Do you have any like plans, things that you want to do, how you want to tackle this year differently than the others? Do you have any tips for the new freshmen coming in, the people who are sophomores now? Like, let's end this on a positive one.
I'm excited about my classes because I feel like now with my new major, I'll have classes that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And
taking film courses.
This time I'm taking film and media,
okay.
and I'm taking digital art.
Oh, great. Oh, with Dietrich?
Yeah.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
She's great.
And I guess the second part was advice for incomers.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Oh, and before you answer that, do you have like any plans for like how you want to tackle this year as opposed to like sophomore? Because every year you kind of like understand how like Davidson's working. It's like, okay, I shouldn't do that. I need to. Any tips or tricks that you've learned?
I feel like as you said, it's like a personalized thing that what works for each person. I've made a few changes in terms of my schedule and my living situation.
Yeah.
And so I have a feeling that will help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess a little bit more discipline might be useful. And so that I can actually have blocks of chilling time. And not like stressing out about the work that I could be doing or I'm about to do or missed. And so I'd say that might be the key word going in. And I guess with discipline comes self-care, because like that's the point of why I bring that up, so that I can relax and just be hopefully I hope I get the chance
you gotta respect those blocks of rest time just as much as you respect those blocks of work.
You guys can't say that.
No, well, okay,
running on 3 hours of sleep.
That's right. We definitely
did that,
and you know what, and we're a cautionary tale. but go ahead.
I was gonna say we respected the time that we needed to rest and recharge among our fellowship, because while we were students here, we had to be about our books, about our education. We knew that we had to create something, and that's something that we needed to respect, because if we didn't, like, one of us fall by the wayside, mental health decays, all these other things. But that's something that we needed to do for ourselves. So we were disciplined about having a bad sleep schedule to create, because we knew that creating would make us better people. And
to flip it, it was like, okay, so we knew that we had a limited amount of time to create something that no one had created before here. So that was like the driving force. It was like we just have to do it. And then when things got like too crazy, I was like, dude, I can't go tonight. Like I have to sleep. Like, this is crazy. Or I'd be like, you sleep and I'll work, and then like that type of thing. So we kind of, balanced it out a little bit. That. And we did all that as like an investment so that we could chill after we got out of school. Just kind of like, all right, listen, all the hard work is done. Now we can just create and have fun. Like, so that's kind of how we justified all the sleepless nights and like 2-hour sleep sessions.
I'm buying it. You're giving me the eyes as if I'm like.
So it was worth it. We had to do that for ourselves. For the freshmen out there, I'll tell you, and just really for like any Davidson student, the key to getting through the whole semester, this is very important. When you get your syllabus from all your professors, go to the college store, get all your books, and read as much as you can. Print out all the papers that you can have access to, and just kind of read ahead within that first week, because after that first week, everything is crazy. People are giving you quizzes, and you got like these big homework assignments, and they're like, people are acting like you don't have 4 classes that you have to be responsible for. So like that first week, no parties, no nothing, just do that, and then it'll be like easier, like smooth sailing ish for the rest of the semester. And even with that, it's still kind of like tricky, but that's what I've learned throughout my time. There's just not enough time in the day. It's like literally impossible to do classes, the homework, eat, and try to get 8 hours of sleep. Impossible. Davidson makes it impossible to do that. So that's how I've been able to I was able to survive my last couple of years here. So that's my recommendation.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a recommendation from me too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. And then we'll end with Leen. And
For sure, absolutely. For me, I read what I could.
yeah.
And when I couldn't, I said, it's okay. I communicated what I could, and when I couldn't anymore, I said, it's okay. When I didn't do too hot on the quiz or I didn't get a concept, I went to my professors and I communicated that. I went to my friends, I said, y'all, don't let me be the only one that sink on this ship. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it together.
Yeah.
And that communication aspect with the folks that you're in the community with, that was the biggest thing for me. The students, like communicating with the folks in my class, saying, yo, how can we all get on the same page, and how can we all work together to enhance our learning experience? Going to professors, I was looking up all my professors' office hour time. I was going, because I said I'm gonna take computer science instead of math.
Oh God, I did that too. That was a mistake. But I
I
made
put
it.
myself for a loop.
Made it through.
But I was in office hours 3 times a week. He only had like 2 designated office hours a day, but I would go an extra day. I would see another computer science tutor, and then I would just like stay after class, just doing what you need to do, because you're gonna have other things to do. But the time that you have to be present, and the time that you have to get knowledge and to ask questions, ask all those questions, and just communicate and let them know you're doing your best, and they'll work with you.
And just to build on that, this might be controversial, but it's like you kind of have to not. Everyone who comes to Davidson, a lot of people are like super overachievers. They're used to getting like A+ on everything, and then they come here and they get like a B- or something, and they lose their minds. It's like, it's totally fine. No one cares about your college degree at all. That's like the crazy part. Like you show them your resume, they're like, oh, you went to Davidson? Great. What's your experience? They don't care. They just go over that whole 4 years like it's nothing. All you need to do is pass. Just get out of here. Get the C. Get the C if you have to get the C. It's fine. Like,
you can still see the future.
Get your credits and get out of here. That's all that matters. Enjoy college. Make these connections. Build something. Don't worry about the grade at all. I only learned that my junior year. I was like, it's fine. Like, I'm doing my best. That's it.
Yeah, sometimes the more you care, the less your performance, the less good your performance is.
Mm-hmm.
With certain instances where you're just like so stressed and worried about it, like just take it slow, just do it.
It was crazy. I remember my freshman year, I was stressing about everything. I was like, I gotta, get the best grades, and there's just so much pressure. You're trying to balance everything. It's just sometimes you gotta just like, I can't read this. I gotta sleep, and then you put that aside. You gotta put yourself first. Your health is the most important thing here. I know people who were with us our freshman year who dropped out sophomore year. People who took a year off because they just couldn't deal with the pressure. I had no idea this was going on. Like, we were just kind of going through the motions thinking that it was normal, but people were really like cracking under that pressure because they were trying to do everything. You can't be everything to everyone on this campus. You can't be the social butterfly and be an A+ student and get a job and get 8 hours of sleep every night and work out every day. You gotta like pick and choose. Something has to, fall aside. And if someone in your circle doesn't understand that, then they probably shouldn't be in your circle, because they're not like thinking about what's best for you. So just pass, get out of here. It's totally fine. You'll be fine. It's all good. Like, they really don't care about what's on your college education. It's just like a way to get in the door. That's really all it is. It's kind of like the standard form of getting into any employment. So
it's the entry. That's the cover.
Yeah, for real. Like, just chill. Just like chill, pass. It's cool. Everyone gets the same degree, so it's like it doesn't matter if you get a C or not. So I'll leave it there. Leen, do you have any tips for the freshmen coming in, the sophomores? Yeah.
This is Trilla Global.
Any general tips?
I I'd like your pieces of advice. Maybe I would just add to the communication, like always advocate for yourself, and even when in the, I hope, rare instances when you're dismissed, advocate for yourself for not having been listened to as well. And so there's always a way around it. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Well, on that note, we'll end it there. This was a great conversation. Leen, thank you so much for being here with us. This was great. We haven't had like a guest on in a minute, so this has been fun. This is episode 15 of the Whatever Podcast. Stay tuned for music videos and new music and more podcast episodes and behind the scenes stuff and just like random things that we come up with on the fly. We have so much content. We filmed a crazy amount in Italy and we're still filming now. I just made like 4 new songs. Vic has an album coming out in December. Like I'm gonna be in Tulsa probably in like the fall or winter of this year, and now I'm free, so I'll just be like making art every day. We're just gonna a lot of drops, so stay tuned. And yeah, this is MC BKLYN, Lawrence King signing off for the Whatever Podcast.
Victor Allen, Pragmatic, Senate Hero, you know.
Leen Khazane.
Thank you so much for joining us. You know what I'm saying? Ooh.
End it there. Peace. All right.